for good equilibrium, your rogues need to be 2 tiers below you. I think it's what we've figured out here.
Yep, that's actually pretty accurate. If you're an S tier, you have to be supported by A tier characters, but then your rogues are generally A or B tier.
Right.
Yeah. If it's a C tier, it's not an interesting story.
Right.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is my man who continues to make one really big list of things. It's Frank. How are you today?
It is a list that never ends. Yes, it goes on and on, my friends. How you doing, Tim?
I'm great. That was a great Shelly, what was her name? Shelly
Lewis.
Sherry Lewis. That was a great Sherry Lewis reference.
God rest her.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Indeed. Frank, here on Beer with Geeks, we make outdated references and drink beer. What are you drinking today? Because you already made
that was the outdated reference. Here's the beer.
Yeah.
I am drinking a Sebago Brewing Company Haze Forward New England IPA. It is a delicious, lovely, made in Maine. If the name Sebago didn't give it away. It is made with 5 different kinds of hops and notes of hazy, juicy, and tropical. And I would agree with that assessment.
I know somebody whose dog's name is Sebago. Fun fact.
Cool. Do they spend a lot of time in Sebago Lake?
Probably.
All right.
One of them's from New Hampshire, if that's helpful. But I don't know. It's just a good name. I don't know.
It is.
It's a good name. Like a good name, I have a good beer. I have a Porch Rocker, Samuel Adams. Is the season. Limited release only.
We're so back. We are so back.
It is lemon. Lemon Radler. That's what it says.
Oh yes, a lemon Radler. Love a Radler.
So lemony, so delicious. I do find that as I get older, Sam Adams just kind of heavy overall, though. It does kind of like sit in your. It just kind of sits in my stomach for a little while.
Yeah.
Oh,
but man,
that's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay. Frank, we are here to continue our.
Speaking of things that sit in my stomach,
this list that doesn't end, my friends. It just. I'm trying not to say the words that you said, but it does go on and on.
It does. I mean, 252 DC characters.
It really say it best. Dag it.
Yeah.
252. We're in the L's.
We're in the L's.
Our ranking the 252 DC characters that are out there from this list. But there's some big contenders in L, as we were saying right before we started recording. L is a really popular letter for comics. So let us get right into it, shall we? If you are tuning in for the first time, we have our S tiers, our A's, our B's, our C's, our D's, and our F's, and our IDKs. We don't know that character, nor do I know. I don't know enough about them to make any kind of decision, so they just go right at the bottom. So far, we do not have any characters that we flat out hate. No F.
No Fs. Yeah.
No. A fair amount of Ds where you just go, they're a person that exists, but nobody that I loathe the very being of.
Right. It's like, okay, Antiope exists.
Correct. Cool in the movie. That's yeah.
Very cool in the movie.
Very cool in the movie. This is we mostly base our most of it's based off of our feelings from the comics, not from any other form of media, which it does hold some kind of sway a little bit, but but comics are the main form into which we are ranking all these characters. Let's get right into it. Let's start with Lagan. Lagan is from Atlantis. He has been a member of Young Justice for a while, and Lagan is a D character for me. Yeah, just I don't have any kind of feeling about Lagan really whatsoever.
Barely aware.
Truthfully, if it wasn't for Young Justice, I probably wouldn't.
Probably IDK.
But it would probably be IDK. Yeah, I agree. Larfleeze.
Larfleeze is at minimum a C.
I don't think it's any better than a C, truthfully.
Not better than a C. But I also think not worse than a C.
Nope. Yeah, I think Larfleeze is. I think he had his moment in the sun.
Yes,
and he did what he was supposed to do. Orange Lantern for oh gosh, what do they call it? Not gluttony, avarice.
Avarice.
Yeah, and yeah, and that was there he goes. Okay, see you later, love.
That's Larfleeze.
Yep,
There he is.
see you later.
Mine.
Yeah, truthfully, I he might not be a C. Like,
Okay.
do we really want to stick him with Adam Strange?
I mean, Saint Walker is a C.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
but
mean? Like that's kind of Atrocitus is a C. Like they're kind of
but but Freddie Freeman is a D, and at least he has some like comic history
but
about
he's
him.
still a
Nah,
D.
keep him where he is.
Christopher Chance has a comic history too.
Good point. Yeah, all right, keep him where he is. Keep him in that C. Larry Trainer, Negative Man from Doom Patrol. I confess I'm not a huge Doom Patrol
Yeah,
fan.
nor am I.
I from comics, it's almost nil. So my
Mm,
exposure is really only the show, and so I'm gonna say almost in fairness, like IDK.
IDK. Yeah.
Yeah, like I just I liked the bits of that Matt Bomer on the show, but
Mm-hmm.
that's not really the comic. So I'm gonna say IDK.
Leonard Snart.
Uh-oh, here comes trouble. Captain Cold himself with his funky glasses. Really
Yeah.
like Captain Cold. I'm
Mm-hmm.
weirdly excited when he shows up in The Flash.
Mm-hmm.
More than the other rogues. He's my favorite rogue. Um,
Mm.
of like that, the like robber,
Yeah.
like not talking like Reverse Flash or anything like that. But as far as like the group that call themselves the rogues, he's my favorite.
Yep.
And
Yeah, I guess he probably is mine as well. Come to think of it.
I want to say he's a
Well, I
B.
mean, apart from, I mean, Reverse Flash, really. I mean, yeah,
Sure,
few
but he's
apart.
not really of the rogues. He's like he
I
does his own
guess
separate thing. He's in the rogues
he's
gallery.
in the Rogues Gallery, but he's not. Yeah, he's
And
not one of the
he is not a member of the rogues.
lowercase R rogue. He is, but not
Correct.
a capital R. Yeah.
Exactly.
But we're not talking about the letter R. We're talking about which tier is he? And I hope he's on an R tier.
That's a
No,
B.
I think
That to me he's a
a
B.
B. Right? Yeah.
If Guy Gardner is a B, Captain Cold is a B.
Yeah, that seems absolutely fair.
Mhm.
That seems
Right?
absolutely fair. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Leslie Willis,
Leslie Willis, Livewire,
Livewire,
originated in
the
Superman
animated
the animated
series.
series.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. Livewire is a whatever for me.
Yeah.
I just it's like great that she was on the animated series. It was definitely a like let's do Harley again,
Kinda.
but make
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
punk
Yeah.
rock instead, and which is fine. But I if I never saw her again, I might not notice.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So she's a C for me,
Hmm.
but I would be
See,
comfortable with a B.
I would, yeah, it's tough because I kind of would go for uh, a B, but then again, I wouldn't put her at the same level as Cassie or Carol Ferris. So maybe she is a C.
Hmm.
Maybe she's for me. She's sort of at the upper echelon of the C tier, if you will, because she's got some. I guess because she's a character that made the jump from animation to comics, to other incarnations as well. I just think that's
Impressive in and of itself,
cool,
and
and
so maybe like yeah, bump her up a little bit, like
yeah.
went
So
from
that's why to me it's like the
comic
upper
to
echelon of
live
the C
action
tier.
character.
Hmm.
Okay, I'll give you that. All right, bump her to a B then.
She had the staying power to jump, multiple formats.
All right, give her a B. Give her a good
All right,
old B then. That's
give her
fine.
a B.
Coming up next, Lex Luthor is in the
The
house. Lex Luthor, he's an S tier character.
the
Let's
big
not make
LL,
any
absolutely S
there's
tier, no question about that.
yeah, no. Yeah,
Is
there's mm-mm.
absolutely S tier. Yeah.
Yeah. Like in fact, make
It,
me an argument for why he's not as
yeah.
opposed to
Right.
why
Like,
he is.
let's see. What if I were to argue? What would it be? It would be that he's man. I have to steel man an argument I really don't agree with. He's always losing. It's been 70 years or whatever, and he's never He always ends up on the losing side. No, that's a bad argument. Can you make a good argument for why Lex Luthor is not S tier? I don't know that you can. I don't know
No.
that any for legacy alone
Mhm.
puts him in
Yep,
that tier.
I agree. S tier. Uh, Lobo up next. Lobo's a B for me.
Lobo's a B. Lobo could be an A, honestly, but you're probably right. He averages out to a B.
Yeah.
You're the teacher. You're better at
Yeah,
grading these things.
he's yeah, no, yeah, I've seen moments where he could be an A, but he's just not like, I don't know. Lobo
Brad
is
Garrett's
not
performance as
very out.
Lobo is an A,
Sure,
no question.
absolutely,
Yeah,
yes. Yeah, I forgot it was Brad Garrett.
such a perfect voice for
Mhm.
that character. Like
Yep.
forever, the voice that I will hear whenever I read. I mean, he's in Superman comics right now, and that's what I'm hearing when I read it.
Mhm. Absolutely. Uh,
Lois Lane,
Also an S tier character,
absolutely.
bump out other ST characters to make way for Lois Lane. That's
Oh
how
yeah,
much
like I
an ST
would
character she is.
if I had to, I would. But you know what? We don't have to. We make the rules.
Mhm. Yep. Absolutely, and, again, make me an argument for why she's not.
You know, the thing that uh our friend Derek and is so fond of pointing out so often is that Action Comics #1 is also the first appearance of Lois Lane.
Right.
She's been there since the very beginning, and she is as essential to the story to get her right as Clark himself is. So like, yeah, absolutely, she is S. If Clark's an S tier, she's an S tier.
Absolutely. Uh, Lorraine Riley is, up next. Firehawk is superhero her superhero name. The only story that I can think of that I know Firehawk from is the beginning of Identity Crisis, right? Where she's hanging out
Yeah,
with
yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's her that's hanging out with the Elongated Man
Okay,
on the roof.
okay.
So to me, it's basically IDK, but if not, it's a D.
Yeah, I would not have remembered who that was on the roof with him. As like the rookie who's with him.
Pretty sure.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be it's an IDK for me, honestly.
Okay.
Uh, but would is your argument that if it wasn't for that, because it was because you know her from that, you'd put her at a D
Just
or somewhere
because I
else?
happen to know her
Okay,
from that, but,
I'm perfectly comfortable with that.
but
You know,
I
you love Identity Crisis.
yeah, but now I'm, like, second guessing myself. Is that no, I think no, that's her on the roof. Almost positive. Yeah.
Should we use a lookup?
Mm,
I'll use mine.
yeah, no, I'll do it. It's okay. I've already got her page open, so I can,
Okay, fair enough.
um, let me see.
Yeah, because if that is indeed her, that totally I think warrants a D. That brings her one step out of obscurity, right? That's a
Yep,
yeah,
no, it's definitely
obviously
her. I was right.
cool. Right on.
Okay, well, that I do feel better about.
Yeah,
I pulled that from
well done.
there. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Lucius Fox.
Lucius Fox.
This might be slightly controversial, but I think Lucius Fox is a C character. Yeah.
Whoa, that
I
is not what I expected you to
I
say.
think he was a C character before Morgan Freeman was cast as him, and he was in Batman Begins
Okay,
and then The Dark Knight and stuff. So, but and they certainly elevated him in that sense, but I don't think in the comics he's ever really risen to the heights that of Morgan Freeman.
that's very fair. That is more than fair.
Yeah, like, not that he hasn't been important in some way or another, but I don't think he's any more or less important than Kilowog,
Sure.
you know?
Yep. Yep. No, that's fair. You know, and to take the long view of the character, that makes sense. Like, yeah, his the one portrayal that everyone identifies with so much in Morgan Freeman and the exposure that gave the character, I think probably is skewing my opinion too.
Mhm.
But yeah, when you take that zoomed out view of like the full history of the character, well, most of that is in comics and is not quite as impressive. And that's more because he's underutilized
Totally.
than anything. What do you think about Luke Fox?
About the same.
Yeah.
You could make an argument for a B maybe, but I think he's a character that they struggled to use a lot and for him to like find a common thread and identity and a sticking place. And because of that, I'd put him at a C.
Mhm. I think that's fair. That I feel Lucius Fox I wanna kinda bump up to, like, a B maybe, but Luke Fox, I'm like, "No, C feels good."
Mhm.
That feels definitely right. Um, Lila
Right.
from Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Would you give her a C because of Crisis on Infinite Earths, but besides that, like,
Pretty much, pretty much. I
yeah,
mean, that's basically all she's in. I mean, I'm sure she's made other appearances, but
she was definitely in Superman, Batman, Supergirl. Pretty sure she was in that.
okay, okay.
Um,
Yeah, you're
I'm
right, she
yep,
was, wasn't she?
yep, but, like, it's very few and far between.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'll say C.
Um, so yeah, I think she's a C character, but and it's her big appearance is one of the most consequential things, in all of in all of comics and all of DC comics certainly. But yeah, Lila Michaels, Harbinger. Of course, she did make the jump to live action.
That's true. That's true. Truthfully, I don't know. I still wouldn't,
No, that's
some of
fine. I'm not.
some of these
I'm
other
not.
people, have been in live action that are in D,
I
like,
know. I'm not saying it that automatically bumps her out. I was just a little bit of
yeah,
trivia.
yeah, yeah.
More than
Uh,
anything.
Malcolm Duncan, Vox, I know absolutely nothing about except that he was, also in Young Justice, and he was the Guardian in that. He was, like, the 2nd Guardian. I
Oh,
don't really know anything about him, so I'm gonna say IDK for Malcolm Duncan.
sure. Yeah, I know less than you know, so absolutely that's an IDK for me. Mari McCabe,
Vixen.
Vixen. I have
Vixen's
not seen Vixen in a while.
um,
I'm probably not reading the right books, but I just it just occurs to me I haven't seen that character in quite a
she
while.
I feel like I just saw her in something. Now I can't remember. It might have been Justice League Unlimited. She might have been in the background,
Hmm.
because so many of them are in the background.
I
As far
definitely
as a
saw her in that.
main player is concerned, yeah, it's been a while since she's been a main player. Um, but like you said, like she's been multiple actresses have portrayed her in live action. She's had her own animated show,
Yeah.
technically. Um, uh, I want to say B, but I'd be
Yeah.
fine if you put her at a C.
No, I think B. I think she's a B character. I she can carry a show. Like that
Mhm.
you don't give a show to a C character, right? Like if you're at
Not
that
historically true, but I understand what you mean.
well, all right,
Yeah.
fair. Very fair, but
See Legends of
um
Tomorrow. Yeah,
one
for
one ought not give
sure.
a show to a C character, but well, but you also shouldn't give a movie to Iron Man and you know,
And voila, there he is, right?
there he
Everyone
is.
knows his name. So, yep, B for
Mark
Mari.
Martin Stein.
I dislike Firestorm.
Yeah,
Like, you just as far as Firestorm goes, he's one half of Firestorm. I don't really
right.
care. It could be a D. I'd be fine with a C.
Where did we
What are
put,
the other fire where do we put the other Firestorm
yeah, that's
character?
what I wanna know.
I think if we put the other Firestorm characters at the same level, then yep, Jason Rush is a D character, Firestorm, all the way down.
Yeah, okay, yep. You, you fought for that one. Yeah, okay. I mean, I don't have a strong opinion on Firestorm. I probably said this at the time. So, like, yeah, that's fine with me. Put him right next to between Jason Rush and Jim Harper. Mary Bromfeld. Mary Marvel.
Miss Mary Marvel. Mary Marvel, I love Mary Marvel. She has
I like
carried
Mary
her own
Marvel.
book several times,
Yep.
like, She is live action movies.
Mhm.
So I'd say she's not an A character though. Like I would never look at
No.
Mary Marvel and be like, "Yes, you're Hal Jordan." You know,
Correct.
like
I
that's
agreed. Right, right. I would
that's not the same for me. So I'm gonna say she's a B character,
yeah, yeah. A strong B.
a strong B, but she's a
Strong
B,
B.
a B. She's a B plus.
Yeah. Maxine Hunkel.
Maxine Hunkel, member of the JSA, Ma
Mhm.
Hunkel, the original Red Tornado was
Mhm.
her grandmother, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and when that Red Tornado was just a middle-aged mom wearing a pot over her head, fighting crime. Amazing. Comics are an amazing thing. Um, it's just I say she's a
Ridiculous.
C character.
C character, yeah, I feel like that feels about right. I think
Yeah.
it's on par with, Lila.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, you could probably make an argument for a D character, but I do like the JSA and I do like her, so from, like, a personal
yeah.
point, I think I'd put her at a C.
No, that works for me. That works for me. Yeah. Artemis or Sia, yeah, that'll work for me. Um, Maxwell Lord. Okay, this one could be I could see Maxwell Lord going, uh, at
You think an
I
A?
I think he could be an A. I don't know, what do you think? I lean towards he's like an A minus, right? But is it an A minus or B plus?
I don't know, like, I think that he waxes and wanes in importance, like, sometimes like, he's been a mainstay in comics for decades, um, and he has been very important, and he has, like, certainly fallen by the wayside quite a bit too. So I'm not positive. I don't know. I think A feels strong. Like it maybe feels too strong. Are we saying Maxwell Lord is of the same crop variety as Zod? Or Eobard Thawne or try looking for other villains or the Riddler. Like, do you think that Maxwell Lord is the same as the Riddler? Or or
I mean,
Zod or Darkseid?
the thing is his importance to the Justice League, his importance to the events of, Infinite Crisis are the thing that cloud my judgment. Um, because I know that that was a particularly formative time for you and I, you and me, but
Mm.
it when I look at the again, the long lens and the long arc of the character, he is who did we just say this about a few minutes ago? That it's sort of like, yeah, oh, I guess like Lila or even Leslie Willis. That it's like, yeah, like, yeah, we have this one thing that we really identify with or imprinted on for that character, but really the in the bigger picture, Maxwell Lord is I guess I go with the B plus side of that equation.
Yeah. I think he's a B plus.
Yeah,
But that means he's a B. He's a strong B, but he's a B.
he's a B. Yeah, strong B.
Well, what about
We got a
Mara?
string of yeah, we got a string of better known ones here now.
Mhm.
We said L was good, but M doesn't mess around either.
Nope.
Um, Mara, you could argue Mara into an A,
You could argue her into an A, I think. Yeah. I don't think she's a natural A, but you could
right?
argue her into there, and I would be
Right?
comfortable with that argument.
Yeah. Again, I think it's an A minus B plus situation. Um, but I think I might err on the side of A plus, A minus, for Mara. I think
All right. Then let's do that. I think that she has grown in importance over the years, and
yes,
I think her constant presence is an important
yes,
aspect of her character. She doesn't come in and out. It's not like, "Oh, where did Mary go? I haven't seen her in several years." I mean, she's just kinda always there, and so I'll give her the A for that.
Yeah, she's
Magan Wars? Mhm.
she's an
She's
important
okay, yeah.
character and has a yeah, exactly, an influence.
Mhm.
Magan, I feel like is kind of a Kate Kane or a yeah, Karen Starr, um, s in terms of
Supporting player.
yeah, yeah, supporting player.
Yep.
Like I like it when they have her step up more.
Yeah.
Um, but
I
her
don't know if she has the depth of some of our B characters.
yeah,
Yeah, I would I'd ha like, I like her, but I actually would I think I'm more comfortable with her as a C.
yeah,
Just I don't know
yeah,
how apart from Young Justice, I don't know how much she carries on her own.
right.
And the C
Yeah.
is that there's still good characters in
There's still
there.
some very good
Like
characters in here, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I just, yeah, I'd say C.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Mia Dearden, Speedy.
Speedy, Arrowette, many other things. I'm gonna also say C for Mia.
Mhm,
I don't think
mhm.
she's anything stronger than that.
I think that actually feels pretty down the middle for me. Uh, Michael Carter, Booster Gold.
Booster
Uh,
Gold. Booster Gold.
Booster
I
Gold.
don't have strong feelings about Booster Gold,
Yes.
but I'm not gonna let that cloud my judgment. I think
Sure.
Booster Gold is probably a B character if you
That's what
take
I'd say,
my
yeah.
actual like, he's actually a B character.
Yeah.
I just
He's
he himself is
that's
annoying, but he's a B.
sure. He's a very fun character. His stories are always very fun. He's a funny character. I enjoy him a lot. I think B feels very appropriate. It's one of those things that like I didn't expect to really like it, care for the character much at all, but the sense of humor and the dynamic with Skeets always makes me laugh. So I'd put him at B. Um, Michael Holt,
Mr.
Mister
Terrific.
Terrific.
Mr. Terrific's an A character for me. I'm gonna
I
throw that out there.
I think that's right. Um, I'm very as we're recording this, we have not yet seen uh, James Gunn's Superman, but I'm very excited to see Mister Terrific in that film. Um, from what we've been shown in trailers and stuff, but uh, I've my yeah the comics are my main reference point
Yep.
for Mister Terrific.
Yeah. I think he's a really versatile character. You can stick him in a lot of different
Yeah.
places and he can do a lot. But yeah, yeah, I like Mr. Terrific a lot.
Hmm.
That's an A. He's an A for me.
T spheres are weird though. It's a
You
weird
think so?
That's a I mean, they're kind of I mean, they're weird, not in a bad way. They're weird, like Silver Age sci-fi weird.
Totally. But I'm fine with that. It's
Yeah, oh
all,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
all good. But I understand what you mean.
yeah,
There's this silver ball with a T on it. It does
yeah,
things. Yeah.
yeah,
You don't know how it
exactly.
does things. It just does them.
It's just don't
Yeah.
ask too many questions.
Yeah. Totally. Yep.
Uh, Mick Rory. Speaking of rogues,
Mm. Mick's not as important to me as Leonard. Like,
no,
I think the Flash show in Legends of Tomorrow, like, made him a
yes,
more well-versed breadth of an interesting character, but Mick himself from the comics is just, he's a
he's fine.
guy. He
Yeah, he's
definitely has
fine.
background and whatever, but, like, I think Mick's a C.
Yeah, I think I think that feels fair. But I
Yep.
gotta say, yeah, I think kind of most of. Well, no, I take that back. I was about to say I think maybe most of the rogues are C's, but no, well,
No,
take
Leonard
that back.
Snart is a B, I
Well,
think, but I think you're
he's
right. I
the
think I
exception.
think that's kind of the point of the Rogues, though, that they are kind of losers,
Yeah,
and only
right,
together do they, like, become a B,
right.
basically. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, we're almost out of
Midnighter.
time, so let's wrap up the M's and then call it a
Yeah,
day.
agreed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Midnighter, from the Authority.
Uh,
I really like Midnighter. He's a good character, interesting background. Like you think he's just street Batman, but he's really not.
yeah.
And so I'd put him at he's like a strong B plus, weak A minus to me.
Okay, got it.
So, but ultimately, I probably would lean more towards B just because he's not a constant presence in comics the way that, like, you know, I don't know, some of the members of the JSA, Jimmy Olsen, John
Sure.
Stewart, like, Black Canary, Supergirl. Like, I don't know if
Mm,
I'd put him at their level. I
okay.
think he
Yeah.
couldn't fight at their level and even take
Okay.
some of
Sure.
that's not really the point of this conversation. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I
Yeah.
put him at a B.
Nice. Okay, that makes sense. I'm good with that. I've not read um I've not read it, so I don't have any. I New York abstains courteously.
Courte courteously, yeah.
Courteously, Mikhail Arcadin?
Arkaden?
Arcadin?
I don't know. Either way, he's a Firestorm, but I don't
Arkham.
know him, so I'm gonna give him an IDK. I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, I don't
I
either.
can
I
tell from
also
the
don't know.
picture it's a Firestorm related and but
Sure, but that's all I got. I also don't know Minkoa Khan. I don't think
that is Ghostmaker. It's a Batman character.
that's why I didn't.
He was very active in the comics for several years. Led his own team with his own title, was a member of was adjacent to the League of Batman. You remember that, the Grant Morrison thing?
Oh, so this is
Like
relatively recent.
yeah, well, that
Like,
League of Batman thing was just a couple of years ago. I'm not talking when Grant Morrison was
okay,
actually writing it. This
yeah,
was,
yeah, yeah,
James Tynion was writing
yeah. Okay, okay.
Batman. So it is
I
really
remember when that
recent.
was.
He was a cool character. He basically trained with Bruce, like when Bruce was a kid going around the world becoming Batman. He was
Okay,
also going around the world and doing his version of it.
okay,
Um, I'd truthfully, like, he made an actual impression on me. I'd throw him a B, but I'd
okay.
also be comfortable with a C. But yeah, I'd actually throw him a B
Throw him in the put him right there next to Midnighter.
next to
Give me
Midnight.
those.
Right on.
Give me those. That's another thing about like Batman. His rogues kind of average out at a B for a lot of them.
Mhm.
Um, Flash, his characters, his rogues kind of average out at a C. It's interesting. That's the difference between when you're an S tier. I guess your rogues for good equilibrium. Your rogues need to be 2 tiers below you. I think it's what we've figured out here.
Yep, that's actually pretty accurate. Yep. Yeah, if you're an S tier, your you have to be supported by A tier characters, but then your rogues are generally A or B tier.
Right.
Yeah.
But
If it's a
no,
C tier, it's not an interesting story.
right. That's why C tiers don't get shows, right?
Mhm.
Um, all connects. The big exception to this is Clark Kent and Lex Luthor are both S tiers. Um,
Sure, but Lex has the relationship they have is beyond just villain and hero.
it like
It's not
transcends,
like
yeah.
it's their relationship is not Superman and Livewire, so
Right, right,
yeah.
yes.
So yeah, but you're right, and
Exactly.
I think we'll get there with other Batman characters too, because
True.
like we
I think that yes, I
yeah,
think that's true. Yeah.
um, Mongal,
Yeah.
not to be confused with Mongul, who's coming up next. Mongal is a D character. Like, I
Yeah.
won't even F is reserved purely for hatred, so which
Yes.
I can't say I hate her, but she's definitely just a D character. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
Mongul,
I
on
get
the other
yeah,
hand,
Mongol
you could make an argument
B.
for he's an A villain.
Yes, you could. Yes, you absolutely could. I think you can make a very convincing argument of that.
Yeah, I think he's one of those, like, he's an A minus, B plus
Right.
villains, so I don't know. Is he he is Mongol Two-Face or Eobard Thawne. I'm gonna say he's not. Looking,
Hmm.
is he Zod? I don't
To
know.
me,
Actually,
no.
he
Like,
yeah, I don't know.
I think um I may be the exception. I'm not the biggest Mongol fan. He's just sort of like mini dark side to me.
Sure. Sure, sure,
Um
sure.
so like it I don't dislike a Mongol story. Um but doesn't do a ton for me. I don't know.
Mhm.
So for me it's like, yeah, if it's a I would go more on the B plus side of the divide. But if you feel like you're the vote that sort of pushes it over the edge to A minus, I'm good with that.
No, B's fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a real weak A minus. So,
Okay.
yeah, B's fine. Because I mean, like, we have Bane at a B who has some incredible stories.
Yes, true.
And like it's like and you could make a strong argument that Bane is actually an A minus character.
Hmm.
So I'd be comfortable with Mongol being kind of at that level.
All right. That seems fair. Two more. Monitor.
Yeah, which is the monitor. The picture they chose is on, but it's technically
Yeah,
like they have a
okay.
couple of they get that's the Grant Morrison kind of do of
Got it. Okay.
monitor, but
Okay.
C
I
C
C character. Yeah. Again, it's one of those like because the when used, very very highly impactful, but very rarely used. Um. Yeah, I think that I put him in B, but I meant to put him in C. I think kind of goes along with the Lila of it all.
Yep. Mhm. I agree.
Marina.
Marina is Grail's mother's the Amazon
Okay.
um that birthed Grail for Darkseid.
Okay.
That's a D
Yeah.
character. Even I could even go as far as IDK because like what I told you is
Yeah.
all I can tell you.
Right. Okay. Well, that's just sort of plops to an end, doesn't it?
Eh,
That brings to the end
yeah,
of
sure
the
does.
ends, and we just sort of putter.
Yeah. I mean, we could go into
It,
the ends, which isn't very large, but it's good that one is also gonna putter to the end. There's
it
only
really
4
will.
of
Yeah,
them, but it'll also putter.
it's not going to get better. That's fine. We are making a meal of this tier list situation, and
Mhm.
if I encourage you to watch these in particular on YouTube. Most of the time we're really going for audio first. Largely speaking, but this is one that probably helps to watch the YouTube version of it. So I encourage you to check that out. Um, and Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll just roll into plugs. We got beerwithgeeks.com is where you can find the show. You can rate and review us anywhere that you get your podcasts, as well as subscribe, like and subscribe on YouTube. And you can support us at patreon.com/thoughtbubbleaudio to throw us a couple shekels and help us keep doing this thing.
Shackles. That's a blast from the past for sure. Frank, it's always a pleasure talking to you. So until next time, cheers.
Cheers.
Shackles.